Hi there, Dr. Joseph Martin again here in lovely Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. The topic for today is dealing with oppression and depression and creating liberation and freedom for yourself. Now, we need to start off by saying that oppression is part of human nature. Oppression is in every aspect of human nature. Often we oppress ourselves because we cannot accept ourselves as we are. And the ego inside us actually wants to oppress us, particularly our feelings and our emotions and our true sense of ourself, our self-worth and self-confidence, and even our soul. All aspects of society have oppression. They have through all time and all civilizations. Your family is oppressive to you because they have issues unresolved in their shadow, or perhaps even overtly. There's control issues, power issues, force issues, issues of wanting to take charge of you and abuse you. Now, I myself have gone through this, and I'll get to that in a moment. All the institutions in society are oppressive to people. There's the class system, there's the caste system, there's the people who are the wealthy ones and the people who are the poor ones. Now, I'm simply stating anthropological historical fact. I'm not trying to make a point to put anyone down or up. The fact is, we all are part of this. And the abusers or the wealthy or the people in the high class or caste, they're just as much victims and experiencing oppression as anyone on the other end of the side of the scale. So this is simply an open-ended discourse dialogue to understand the nature of oppression and how it works. All of society, as I said, has this inherent in the system, in the way it's structured and the way it functions. I'm sure many of you experience some kind of issues with your parents, family issues. There's a lot of hidden secrets. There's a lot of lies within families. As a marriage and family therapist for over 40 years, I understand, and working ethnically with all the cultures and families of the world. And that was my specialty as an anthropologist as well. I taught marriage and family and kinship systems at the University of Toronto for many years. I understand that families historically, not just in the peasant era, when there were the wealthy, the rich, the landlords, the nobles, and so on, but even within the capitalist system more recently, which is just a small smidgen of time in 4 million years of human history at least, that oppression is part of our nature and we love to oppress other people. Why is this so? Well, it's mostly from many different factors. One is we cannot accept who we are as true infinite souls with an eternal experience. And back behind that is there's another block of the fear of death. So we don't know what's going to happen to us at death. We don't work through our fear of death. And so back behind that, the dysfunctional kind of programming we get as a result of trying to compensate for these inabilities to deal with the truth of who we are as spiritual beings, or that we will physically die and where we go after that. Our inabilities lead us to direct human incompetence in dealing with ourselves and with other people in the world. First, we have a superiority complex and we have an inferiority complex, and that's actually double-sided. When it's conscious as a superiority complex, you're going to want to be a fascist dictator and rule everybody else and so on. But of course, you've done that to yourself first. So, people like Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, and many, many others, what was their childhood like that they had to oppress themselves so much to compensate by having a superiority complex? And the inferiority complex that most of us have in the world, consciously and unconsciously, is all based on the fact that we think and feel and sense ourselves erroneously as being victims of all our circumstances. Well, this is what this whole topic is about around oppression and depression. You feel oppressed in your family. You feel oppressed in the church and religion, which has a power and control over you. And it's taken away your sense of self and identity and filled you with shame and filled you with a sense of anger and filled you with a sense that you directly cannot connect with God in your own terms. And there's the educational system, which is full of bullying by the principals and by the teachers and by the system itself. And education, as we well know, George Steiner, the great American philosopher, called education is planned amnesia. And as Ivan Illich, the great thinker, philosopher from the last century, said, we need to deschool education. We need to deprogram teachers. We need to deprogram all of society. The injustice system that we have as our institutions, all these are sources of oppression. They racially profile blacks, women, gays, First Nations people. And this is just something inherent in our nature. We could look at any civilization, present or past, and see that there's something here that needs to be looked at. Nelson Mandela recently went back into spirit just 2 days ago, so his great long walk for freedom on the earth plane is now, for him, thankfully over. Now he's passing on this light and torch to us. We must take our own great long walk to freedom, but let's make it a short walk. All you need to do is to go inside and find the pathway, the how-to deal with all this oppression. Victims no longer, and become a victor in your own life. Now, liberation can only be done by yourself. Nobody's going to hand it to you, neither your parents, nor your teachers, nor anyone in the world, certainly not your boss at work. There's lots of abuse and profiling and power trips going on wherever you work, whether it's in the government or any other corporation or even in a small business. All this cannot be. You need to stand up for yourself and speak up for yourself. Liberation is always self-liberation, and you need to take the steps to do this. Many people, whether you're gay or straight, they have, particularly men, we've had a bit of liberation with women and a bit of First Nations in the last 50 or 60 years on planet Earth, and certainly with civil rights and the colored people of our planet. Nelson Mandela leading people out of apartheid in South Africa. However, there's much, much more to do in every nation state of the world. And by the way, nation states are very loath to give citizens their true democratic rights. We need to stand up for ourselves and declare our perfection and our need to create our own self-rights. Resistance is not futile, resistance is necessary. Sorry for those people in Star Trek who love all these kinds of things. But truth will set you free. Many people have said that. Probably one of the first was Jesus, one of the first great Christs on the planet. But self-reliance will only come from telling the truth. Everything that's hidden inside you in your unconscious about your childhood, your abuse, or what's happened to you in this life or past lives needs to be brought up to the surface of consciousness to be healed. Only thereby will that truth give you some self-resilience, some self-reliance, which you need to even further liberate and free yourself from all that is. And the key is around fear and love. Now, these are really the same thing, and I'll get to that in another video, but fear and love are the same thing. Fear is this self-denial and self-hatred and self-loathing and not willing to do something to change your life. And love is the opposite on the spectrum, and love is the ability and the choice and the doing of done, just doing something positive for yourself. There's no sense of sitting around and wasting your life. The opposite of love and fear, which are just two sides of one coin, is apathy, doing nothing, just giving up. Well, that's not a choice for anybody on the earth walk. You just need to do something for yourself. As you can see, Homeland Security, 500 years of fighting back for First Nations rights, and as you know, I'm First Nations Mohawk. That we always need to stand up for our own liberation, and it's an ongoing process. It's a very exciting adventure. In fact, it's the only adventure. Nothing else really matters in your life. Not money, not job, not education, or so on. The real education is turning all your fears into love and becoming an active resistor to oppression inside yourself and outside yourself, and supporting all others on the planet in this global consciousness, which is occupy love and occupy self-resilience and occupy freedom in the best way, dealing with your own shadow around this first. So this is quite a Christ-centered experience. I guess that's what my soul wanted to say here. To realize that you are an immortal, eternal soul, and that this is part of the process of why you're here. In another video, and this is again an introduction to the I Am Self-Worth Online Self-Knowledge, Self-Experiential process, you will learn to deal with finding out who you are and the deepest and highest and greatest sense of why you are here now on your good red earth road walk. There are many levels to finding out how and why you are here, and we will do that in another video. Well, I'm hoping you're feeling a little inspired. There will be further videos that talk about all the great leaders in the world who have overcome their own oppression of themselves, overcome their own internal imprisonment spiritually and psychologically, and then supported others with no revenge to go out and see both sides of the picture and help everyone around them, in fact in the world, someone like Nelson Mandela, to see that peace is possible and respect and kindness and compassion and empathy are possible for everybody. Well, now, as we say in our Mohawk way, Onikiwahi, Skana go, the peace is great. And I'm glad you're on the path and process to finding your own self-liberation and your eternal freedom in this moment for the rest of life and beyond. Thank you. God bless. Creator bless.